Hello, everyone. This is Mark Lynn with Healthcare Business Specialists in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is going to be a quick tutorial on the information that you need to gather or compile to help us or whoever you're working with enter this information in the Provider Relief Funds portal, which is due by September the 30th, 2021. What we're going to be reporting on are funds received from the period 4/10/2020 through 6/30/2020, and you had to have spent those funds by June 30, 2021. This is a 16-page document that we are going to use to compile that information, and you can use this to compile your information. Here's just some basics about what you need to do. First thing is we have a 1-hour recorded session in YouTube. If you want to watch that, that's going to be very helpful. It's a great place to start. And in the slide presentation, you can find right here as well. There is worksheets that HHS has provided for us. It's an Excel spreadsheet, and that's really going to be the key to making this work. This document that we have here, I've basically screenshotted lots of those tables that they're going to use, and this is just designed to help you to understand what you're going to need to put in to these tables. And then when you fill out this Excel spreadsheet and these tables, then you can enter that information into the portal when it's time. You want to, this is the place where you want to start, is putting these worksheets together. Once you get ready to input your information into the portal, you're going to have a username. That's going to be an email address, and of course it'll have a portal password, and there will be two-factor authentication of that. So they'll send you an email, and you have to put in a code for that. So if we are doing it for you, and we're not doing it for a whole lot of people, but if you are, if we are doing it for you, then make sure we have your cell phone so we can text you that we need this code. First thing you're gonna have to do is look through all your bank accounts and see all the money that you've received. Of course, we'll be looking at this second quarter, I guess 2020. That's where most of your funds came in. So you want to, this is where you're going to be putting that information. They are asking for information for all 6 quarters here, but the uses of these funds are really for this period of time here, the second quarter, April 10th through June 30th, the second quarter 2020. That's what they're going to be testing you on. And so this first line here, this COVID-19 to $49,241. This is supposed to pre-populate. I haven't seen it doing it on the ones that we've worked on so far. We've not worked on a lot so far, but that 49,000 should be going in there. Your SBA grant or SBA loan that you got there, the PPP loan, you'll have to put that in there. If you got that FEMA, a lot of people got a FEMA $10,000 thing. So I think some got 3,000, some got 10,000. So you'll want to make sure you put that in there. Make sure you put it in the right quarter as well. And then if we're doing it for you, provide us with documentation. We do have to have documentation of everything that you put in. Most of it we don't have to submit to HHS, but we have to hold on to it for 3 years at least. And so the second item here is provider relief expenses. Most of our clients will have less than $500,000 of receipts from provider relief funds, and you will not have to break it down in these categories. You basically have to put in 2 numbers. One is your general and administrative expenses and your health care related expenses. Most of your expenses are going to be salaries, and we need some type of documentation of how you've accounted for those salaries. There's all sorts of rules related to that. You can't double dip. You can't have somebody claim. You can be claiming more than 100% of somebody's salaries through the different grant funds that are out there. So what you're going to do is probably have a percentage of time, and then figure out what percentage of time is related to these COVID activities, and put together a worksheet that we've came up with here. So if you want to click in here, you can find our little worksheet that we've got for you, and that should work just fine, or whatever you have to document that. Again, keep your documentation for that. put those expenses in here. I break this down between general administrative and healthcare related expenses. And that's really, and we have 6 quarters here that we're reporting on at this time. If you did get more than $500,000 in funds, then you will have to break it down by these categories. The next item is when you go into what's called lost revenues. The first thing they want you to do is compare your net patient revenues in 2019 to 2020. What we basically need is a profit and loss statement from you, or if you got a tax returns for both years, typically that will show us what we need to know as far as your net patient collections. If those monies do have monies in there that aren't from patient collections, then let us know, and we need to pull that information out. And then here is the form that if your expenses completely use up all your provider relief funds, you do not have to do this particular form. This is computing your lost revenues, and it's by payer mix. So this one will probably take the most time, is going by quarter, figuring out what your net patient collections were by quarter there. There's 10 quarters there that you have to do that for. That is going to take some time. So if your expenses use up all the provider relief funds, you don't even get an option to enter this information in there. So I would focus on expenses first. And if you can do that, that would save you a lot of time in doing that. And then metrics, they have all these metrics that you need in there. This is not gonna, and this is not gonna affect your settlement with them or your reporting. It's just information only. So take it for what that's worth. But for rural health clinics, there's really only 2 metrics that you're going to have to do. These payroll metrics here about full-time employees, part-time employees, contracted, furloughed, separated, and hired. Thankfully, most of the RHCs we have are very, very small, and there's not a whole lot of turnover. So this shouldn't be that hard. Again, you got 10 quarters of information. I would go through and look at your 941 reports, or sometimes your state unemployment reports basically has a listing of your number of employees there. HHS considers a full-time employee 30 hours or more. So if you have employees that are 30 hours or more, that's what you're going to want to enter there. And for our rural health clinics here, there's some metrics on patient metrics, outpatient visits. That is going to be the one metric that you're going to have. And fortunately, rural health clinics do have pretty good information on visits because we have to fill out that cost report. So by quarter, if you can put down your face-to-face visits that you would count on the cost report, that's what we would need for that particular one. Here's the definitions that you need on these personnel metrics there. I think there's where we got the 30 hours of service per week is full-time. Unfortunately, this looks like something I would do here. And then they say the part-time is 1 to 34 hours a week, which doesn't really work. So we're just going to use 30, and hopefully they'll fix that in the future. And then finally, you have a survey that you have to do on whether this is going to help you. Well, sure, yeah, you gave me $103,000. Absolutely, thank you very much. We wouldn't be around if it wasn't for that. But go through and if your answers are different than what we've put on there, then let us know, and then do write something about how this has affected you, because there's an optional place there for at least 1,000 characters where you can write the impact of these COVID-19 grant funds, which have been really, really just beneficial to our rural health clinics. This piece here is we're putting together a documentation package, and you should put together a documentation package and hang on to it. You don't have to send it in like a cost report. You know, we have to send those in. This piece, the documentation, you do not have to send it in. But what we do is we just put some tabs where you can put your information together and sort of organize it. And I would scan it once you get it finished, and then put it in a very safe place. We'll put it in Dropbox. We have a system called Canopy that we're going to put it in, and we're going to hang on to it. So those are your documentation of stuff. This will take some time. This report is due by September the 30th, and there's no extensions on it. And they say if you don't fill it out, that there's a chance that they will take this money back from you. You do not want to be giving HHS back that $103,000 that you got and those other provider relief funds that you received. So watch the video that we have. It's a 1-hour video on how to do the reporting, and then try to accumulate this information and then get it to the person that's going to help you put this information into the system. Again, if we're helping you, get it to us as soon as possible. Again, we're trying not to do it as much as possible because we still have a ton of cost reports that we have to get done, and those are late at this point. So thank you very much, and we appreciate you guys very much, and stay safe. It's getting crazy.